Seated on the dais with me, Secretary Telecom, Neeraj Mittal ji, Additional Secretary Manish ji, Rohit Sharma ji, a very keen proponent of innovation and collaboration, NGS, thought leaders, policy makers, innovators from across the world present here today in India, my friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first welcome you all to this International 6G Symposium. Welcome you all in a land that has a long history of innovation, a long history spanning over thousands of years of creating paradigm shifts, but also a long history of sharing our discoveries, of improving the quality of lives of our people with the rest of the world. The Prime Minister's two imperatives while talking about a digital world, a digital India, are based on the fundamental premises, as I mentioned in my address yesterday, of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Prayas. Translated into English, one earth, one family, one future, trust for all. And the best example of that for you, ladies and gentlemen, is that India's innovations, in her resolve and in her march of digital India, first of all, are all inclusive for her 1.4 billion people. And therefore, if you talk about the digital payment systems, you talk about the Aadhaar card, which is your identity card in India. We talk about the United Payment Interface, UPI. Fundamentally, it must include all citizens. In the month of August alone, we had close to 1.5 billion transactions on UPI. In the month of August alone, close to $275 billion. Today, 46% of all the digital transactions in the world, 46% are done in India. Just last month, the Prime Minister, with the touch of a button, transferred direct money into 93 million marginalized farmers' accounts, a sum close to $2.5 billion in one touch. So today, all of India is part of this movement. And that's why in my speech I said yesterday, we followed the world in 4G. We marched with the world in 5G. But when we work with all of you together across the globe, it is our aspiration that in collaboration with you, we will lead the world in 6G. That is India's potential. And I am very confident that this Bharat 6G Alliance, the B6GA, that has been put together, covering all stakeholders, from government to industry to academia to corporates to entrepreneurs to researchers. The 7 working groups have done a tremendous job. And I am very confident that this group will be value additive to the ITU and to 3GPP as we strive to derive the standards for the global world to follow. There are 1 or 2 points I'd like to make as we chart our path. India is today the voice of the global South. And in that refrain, while we chart our path into what today is the unknown, and as all of you sitting in this room will craft that unknown into the known for the rest of humanity, I think a fundamental premise that all of us must keep in mind is the fundamental premise of inclusion for every single person living in the globe. Our 6G standards and 6G, which is characterized by unprecedented speed, low latency, transformative applications, must be for all, must be inclusive, must be accessible, must be affordable, because only then will it represent true meaning and true value for all of humanity. Along with that, as we set the regulatory environment, I think India has a tremendous capability to contribute to the formalization of our regulations. If I may put a picture for our members and leaders in the 6G symposium, the standards that we come up with, the regulations that we come up with, the highway that you will architect, the carriageway that you will found, must ensure that it poses tremendous value to that marginal farmer sitting in the fields of Bihar, a state in India, as it would to every student in the villages of Latin America, as it would to every single artisan in the hills of Africa. And that purpose must be very clear and incisively molded in our minds as we chart that path. I do believe at the same time that as volumes expand and as data permeates our lives, and as access to the world knows no limits, we must also, whether it's 3GPP, ITUs, WTSA, we must also ensure security. We must also ensure cyber security for every single citizen that avails of this opportunity. Finally, I believe that India has a tremendous opportunity in this area. As the standards are set for 6G, technology is going to become much more software-centric. And as technology becomes much more software-centric, India has an inherent comparative and competitive advantage, considering her tremendous engineering and software skills that have been honed, finessed, and harnessed over the last 4 decades. Consider this, that close to 31.7% of the world's STEM graduates hail from India. And therefore, that presents a huge opportunity for us to be a very vibrant supporter of this 6G technology, which will open the doors for AI, open the doors for IoT, open the doors for ML. And as we chart that path, I'm very confident that our Bharat 6G Alliance will play a very constructive and a very collaborative role, a very value additive role going forward while putting together the 6G regulations and standards as we walk down that path. When I say constructive, when I say collaborative, our B6GA has already forged alliances with the next G alliance in the US, the 6G SNSIA 1A alliance in Europe, the 6G flagship in Finland. And today marks a new landmark day as our MOUs are being signed with the 6G Forum of South Korea, the NGMN Alliance and 5G ACIA Alliance of Germany, the UK Telecom Innovation Network, proving to the world that India's thought and process of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family, comes to rest even on her technology pillar of Bharat 6G Alliance. We will also be releasing some reports, I believe, today. Our Bharat 6G Alliance has done a tremendous amount of work, and I would like to commend them on their reports and their targets of contributing at least 10% of patents to the 6G standardization process. And with those words, I'd like to first of all welcome you to Bharat Mata, my country. And I would hope that all of you take back a vignette in your hearts, not only in your minds, of India's not only economic prowess, but of her cultural beauty as you go back to your lands and your homes. I do hope that together we will shape the connection of a sustainable future for all humanity for all times to come. Thank you very much for having me.